And that way is on purpose, in the present moment, non-judgmentally.
So is it the same thing as meditation?
It is a form of meditation.
Okay, because it's an easier entry.
Glide path.
I like glide path. It's an easier glide path, I think, for people to accept. I want to be more mindful than I want to meditate, because whenever we've done shows with Deepak and others about meditation, people are like, I'm not doing it right. When in fact, whatever is happening is what's supposed to be happening.
Exactly.
Right?
This is the biggest problem.
People think something's supposed to happen.
Yeah, and I know it's not happening because I'm just sitting here miserable and bored, and the breath is so stupid, and why do I have to pay attention to that? Or my mind is so inflamed. And they think, oh, if I were really meditating, my mind would be a blank, my breath would be easy, I'd feel so wonderful. So the easiest thing for people to think about mindfulness is that it equals awareness. You and I sitting here having a conversation, the thought might cross one of our minds, well, when are we going to get down to meditating? The fact is we are. And then your life in some sense becomes the meditation practice. You see, rather than something I have to do
for 20 minutes.
20 minutes or whatever.
That was deep.
Always comes
if you are awake. If you are willing to be in your body, if you are willing to be in this moment, to whatever degree you can manage. Because a lot of the time, we got a lot of things going at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. I just had a conversation with Michael Pollan, who wrote a book called Cooked. He was saying, when you're in the kitchen cooking, if you're stirring the pot, just stir the pot.
It's like, you think you understand what it means, but it has infinite depth to it. So
I'm in my tent.
When you're stirring the pot,
I'm in my tent,
just stir the pot. So what does that mean? It's powerful. The more you let that run inside you, the more it actually transforms your understanding of who you are. It's very deep.
Very deep.
Peace. I see you.
So to be mindful means to be, there's no difference between being mindful and then being fully in this moment now.
With awareness.
With awareness.
Yes.
So it's not just being, it's having this conversation, but also being
having the conversation.
1 second. Hold on, people.
Because conversations are complicated.
Let Oprah talk to y'all for a minute before I come back.
I'll be back. In the next moment, you could bring something up. I would respond one way. If you brought something else up, I would respond another way. I could interrupt you, being polite. I mean, there are a million different ways in which this could unfold. But since you're holding it and I'm holding it, there's a certain way in which we're both holding a space that allows something to emerge that might not emerge otherwise.
And if people are having trouble understanding it, look at how many conversations people have with their kids, where they're not even really, or anybody, and you're just sort of playing lip service. Yeah, you're not being fully present.
Not only that,
and your kids can feel it, and they know it. That's it. Your kids, more so than anybody, can feel when you are feeling them, when you have the awareness of them.
They know when you're present.
You say there's so many conceptions about what meditation really is. This is from the introduction. Where you go, there you are.
All right, people, what's going on?
Speak of meditation.
What's going on? See y'all coming in. I appreciate y'all being in. It's Divine Light right now with the Enlightened Messenger. Hold on. Let me cut off.
Meditation is simply
Bluetooth. Oh, the Bluetooth was on. What the heck's going on now? All right. So anyway,
it's about being yourself and knowing something about it.
And the irony is, of course, you
listening to.
If you can get out of your own way, you can be yourself 24/7. Yes. So that's what this meditation practice is.
Listening to Oprah talk about meditation and awareness and mastery. phone getting hot. So we're going to do it in the cool breeze. We're going to do it in the cool breeze, all right? I wish I could have gone outside with me, but that ain't the nature of the business right now. See, it's already starting to cool down. It's getting too hot and it was freezing. So, some of you who came on with me in the very beginning heard Oprah. You know what Oprah was talking about? She was talking about that knowledge of self. She was talking about that knowledge of self, that higher consciousness, that awareness, that sense of awareness. And so I titled this video, How to Be... Sorry, y'all, I'm doing a lot of moving. I'm going to be still for a minute, though. I just got to get it right. I don't want y'all to be looking at me trying to find me. So, maybe that's worse it did, huh? Anyway, so she was talking about how to be ascended, masters of self. How to be ascended of self. How to be ascended of who you are. Your higher self, your higher consciousness. And I'm making this video today about how to be an ascended master. How to become an ascended master. As you heard Oprah, she was speaking on a lot of different things. Some of you may have heard, some of you may not have heard. Right? She's speaking on a lot of different things. Can y'all see me? Can y'all see me? I know y'all can see me. I can see me there. I gotta angle this camera because it's so dark in this house. That's why I like doing it outside. Sorry, y'all. I gotta move the camera a lot. I'm comfortable with this. I'm comfortable with this right here. Okay, so how to be an ascended master. And as you heard Oprah talking to the guy, she was saying that it's all about really true self-awareness. Huh? Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. It's all about self-awareness. Self-awareness is to do what? Reverse the words. Become aware of yourself. Become aware of yourself. But to be an ascended master, is going to take a deeper, which I would have went into deeper with Oprah, but it's going to take a deeper level of self-awareness. This is going to take what in the Taoist teachings they talk about a sense of detaching yourself from. See, you can be aware of yourself and your surroundings and the people around you, but you have to also be aware of your spiritual self, your conscious self, your five internal senses. You understand? You got the five physical senses, which makes us more. When you become self-aware, you become aware of more so of your five physical senses. These things become more heightened. Your sight, your touch, your taste, your smell, and the sound. They become a lot more heightened when you become aware of self. And you become more aware of what you see through the eye. You become more aware of what you hear through the ear. You become more aware of what you touch and what you feel. You become more aware of you. But what about the you that cannot touch anything on a physical level? What about you that can hear beyond the physical hearing? What about the you that can see beyond the physical eye? And what about you that can taste beyond the physical tongue? What about those five other senses I talk about, which is your spiritual, your mental, your emotional, your biological, and physiological? To become a master, an ascended master, you have to be so in tune with these five physical senses: spiritual, mental, emotional, biological, physiological. Understanding that it is through the neurological system of our physiological makeup do we what? We can hear, see, smell, taste, and all of that. Our biology gives us these sense and the ability to be able to hear on a deeper level spiritually. And so I can tell you this, like I'm able to hear miles down the road. I can hear things miles down the road. You hear me? Literally, I can hear things miles down the road. Not with my physical ear though. Not with my physical ear. With my spiritual ear. You understand? With my spiritual ear. Can I hear miles down the road? Why? Because to hear is not to actually hear a sound. Huh? To hear is not actually to hear a sound on a spiritual level, on the 5 internal senses. To hear is not to actually hear a sound, but to hear through vibration. You know who does this? Animals do this. Animals hear through the wind. Animals are able to hear miles and miles and miles away through the wind when danger is around. Now, they're not hearing the footsteps of a predator, but they are feeling the vibration change inside the air. They are able to feel the vibration change within the wind. Something has come into and altered the vibration of the wind pattern. Huh? This is why when you see ducks flying in the sky, you always got that one duck in the front, that one goose in the front, because he's to break what? He's to break the wind pattern. That one duck in the front breaks the wind pattern. It changes the course of the wind for all the other ducks in the back. You understand? But the duck in the front has to break the course of the wind pattern. You understand? So that the wind becomes more aerodynamic over the other ducks. Huh? And so animals are able to hear through the wind. Not actual sound, but through vibration changes in the wind. And this is why I say I can hear through the wind. I can hear through the wind, not through actual sound, but through vibration changes in the atmosphere. Can I hear? This is how you become an ascended master, because that's what this is about today. How do you become an ascended master? Well, you have to leave the 5 physical senses and get in tune to the 5 internal senses. You have to tap into the 5 internal senses and stay there. You have to stay there. You have to always stay within those senses. You have to not allow your debilitations and your hindrances of this world to pull you out of those senses. Nothing, not a negative word, should be able to pull you out of those senses. Not someone's attitude, not your boss, not your wife, not your husband, not your children. No one should be able to pull you out of this state of consciousness, of higher self-consciousness that you are in through these 5 internal senses. Why? Because you are to be in the world, not of the world. So being in the world, the body is dead. Being in the world, the body is to be dead. You ought to be in the world, but not of the world. To be in the world, the body is dead. But to be of the world means the body, the spirit has left the world. To not be of the world means you're not spiritually of this world. You're really not. You're not spiritually of this world. Because you stay tapped into a higher conscious state. You stay tapped into a higher conscious state. A higher intellectual, intelligent being that lives on the inside of you. We call God. We call that being God. So to be ascended masters, you have to tap into the 5 internal senses. Leave the 5 physical, because the 5 physical is a representation of the world. You understand? To stay in your 5 physical senses is to stay in your lower root chakra, grounded. You understand? It's to stay in your lower root chakra, grounded, and not able to surpass your debilitations and your hindrances. Huh? Not able to surpass your debilitations and your hindrances. This is why you got these habits that are hard to break. You got habits that are really hard for you to break because you still live in the 5 physical sense world. You have habits that are hard for you to break. Do you understand that you can cold turkey anything you want? You can cold turkey anything you want. You keep saying, oh, it's a struggle, it's a habit, it's this. No, it's not. There is no habits. You only have the habits that you attach yourself to. This is why I said to be an ascended master, it comes through more than just self-awareness. To be an ascended master, you have to be detached. To be an ascended master, you have to be detached. So you keep saying you got habits that is hard to break. There is no such thing as habits. There is a such thing as you staying in your lower and you staying stuck in your 5 physical senses. And you've not transcended the body. You are to be in the world, not of the world. So how do you be in the world? Your body is, your 5 physical senses along with your body is a part of this world. You're in this world. You're in this world. But to be of another world is to spiritually not be here on a hearing level, on a seeing level, on a smell level, on a taste level. You understand? Because to be in tune to your 5 internal senses is to be in tune to your physiological body. Understanding how wind changes in the air changes your physiology. Do you understand this? How wind changes in the air changes your physiology, but some of you are not so tuned in to your physiological body. Some of you are not tuned in to your physiological body that you cannot test and see when the wind patterns has changed in the air. But I can hear through the wind. I can hear through the wind. I can hear just like animals can. Animals can hear through the wind when the predator is gaining on them or is close in the area. And it's not through hearing through their ear do they hear, but they have little fibers in their ear. And the wind pattern changes the vibration of those fibers. Once the vibration in the wind changes, those little fibers in their ear starts to dance and they start to move. And they start to realize, yo, the wind was going like this for 15 minutes. All of a sudden it changed. What's going on? And they can tell when something is altering the wind pattern. They can tell when something is altering the wind vibration. And they can tell, like deer can tell when a predator is, even though they may never see the cheetah. You know, you got those videos where you see the cheetah hunting the deer, and the deer is just grazing along the grass, but the deer still kind of lifts his head up and look, because he can sense, that deer can sense that cheetah in the area. Even though the cheetah is camouflaged to the grass and low to the grass, the deer can still sense the cheetah in the area. So the deer will look up because the fibers in his ear has changed. The wind patterns have changed the fibers within his ear. And so the deer can hear through the wind, not sound, but vibration. And you become your higher self. You become an ascended master when you learn how to hear through vibration changes in the wind. When you learn how to hear and understand that when wind pattern changes, wind pressure and temperature changes, your physiological body. Your physiological body is those fibers that animal has in its ear. So when your physiological body changes and you feel it, you say something ain't right, or something's about to go down, and you can tell, and it may not even be close to you. It may be miles and miles down the road. It may be miles and miles down the road. You understand? Now, this is like when you see a cat rub their ears. This is how you know a storm is coming. When you see a cat rub their ears. Why? Because the temperature and the air pressure has changed and dropped. So a cat rubs their ears because the temperature and air pressure has dropped. And that tells you a storm is coming. This is how you can learn how a storm is coming, by getting you a cat. Get you a cat and watch your cat. And your cat will tell you, yo, a storm is on the way. Because the temperature and the air pressure drops and it changes. And when the cat start rubbing their ears, because the wind, the vibrations in their ears is starting to itch, and it's starting to tamper with those fibers. And it itches their ears. It itches their ears. So that tells you can hear the same way. You can hear the same way. And you can smell. See, you got to get out of what? Your 5 physical senses to become an ascended master. You have to detach yourself from the world. You keep saying you got habits, but there are no such thing as habits. There are no such thing as habits. There are only debilitations, things that hold you back, things that you keep allowing to hold you back. There are only debilitations. These are things you allow to hold you back. You can cold turkey anything you really want. You can cold turkey anything you truly want to cold turkey. I cold turkey everything I felt wasn't good for me. It didn't take me 12 weeks to do it. It didn't take me a class to do it. I just said, this ain't for me. And I cold turkeyed it. I did it with cigarettes when I was 18. I did it with marijuana when I was 20, 22, 23. I did it with alcohol. I did it with soda. I did it with a lot of stuff. I just cold turkeyed it. So we make the process longer for ourselves, which hinders our growth process in ascending as masters. Which hinders our growth process in ascending as masters. So what's going to happen is, when you want to be able to ascend to your higher self, to become an ascended master, you got to learn how to tap into and stay into your 5 internal senses: spiritual, mental, emotional, physiological, biological. Now, watch this. Your biological sense. Your biological is like, your physiological body is the nose. I mean the ear. Let's say that. Your physiological body is your ear. You remove the physical ear and you tap into the spiritual ear, which is the physiological body. Okay? And you can hear wind patterns and you can feel wind patterns, and you can feel when something is going on or something is wrong, or when someone is near, a danger is near. You can feel when that is going on and when something is happening through what? Through vibration changes in your physiological body. It has nothing to do with hearing through the physical ear, but feeling the vibration changes in your physiological body. Now, in your biological body, this is your biological body is your taste. How you taste things, right? So watch this. Understand something, that even if you don't smoke cigarettes, but somebody around you does, you can get cancer from secondhand smoke. Your biological body is what? Your biological body is changing in chemical, and let me say it the other way. I'm saying it backwards. Your chemical molecular structure is changing the biology of who you are through taste. You see what I'm saying? If you do not smoke cigarettes, but you are around somebody that smokes cigarettes very heavily, you become not only addicted to the smell. This is why I said your biological body is your taste. You not only become addicted to the smell. You ever not smoke, right? But you love the smell of someone smoking. You love being around someone who smokes weed. You say, I don't smoke myself, but I love the smell of it. I don't smoke myself, but I love the smell of a fresh cigarette when it gets lit. I don't smoke myself, but I love the smell of marijuana. You ever know people like that love the smell of smoke, but they don't smoke themselves? Why is that? Because your biological body has become addicted to the taste of the smell. Your biological body has become addicted to the taste of the smell. And so you become addicted to secondhand smoke. And you can die from secondhand smoke. You can get addicted to secondhand smoke. Do you understand that if you are around somebody that smokes, you get secondhand smoke, and your biological body changes the chemical structure inside your DNA, inside your body? Being around somebody that smokes, it changes the chemical structure of your DNA inside your biological body. This is what keeps you at a very low vibration, because you want your body, your biological structure, to always be renewing itself. What does the Bible say? That it says you ought to be renewing your mind daily. You ought to renew your mind daily. What does it mean to renew your mind? What does it mean to renew your mind? You have to renew the structure of your makeup. You have to renew the structure of your makeup, and a lot of you won't know how you're made up. A lot of you won't know how you're made up structurally, biologically, chemically, molecularly. You won't know how you're made up because you're not tapped into the 5 internal senses. Huh? So you won't know when a change is happening within inside of you. You won't know when you're feeling something wrong with you. You won't know when cancer is, you may got cancer and you're like, yo, I feel something in my chest and I know it's cancer. And you can call it out. You won't know these things because you're not tapped into the 5 internal senses. And your biological structure changes when you go around somebody that smokes. Now, for you vegans out there, same goes with you. If you are around somebody that eats beef, that eats chicken, that eats fish, and they're cooking fish, that also smell gets in the bloodstream, just like secondhand smoke gets in the bloodstream. So if you're around somebody that's cooking beef, cooking chicken, cooking fish, you are eating that. You are eating the same thing. You might as well take a bite of the fish. You might as well take a bite of the beef, because through the smell, through the nostrils, does the smell and the aroma changes the chemical structure in your blood cells. Huh? And it comes into your blood. The smell of beef gets into your bloodstream. Just like the smell of cigarettes gets into your bloodstream. You can get secondhand smoke and cancer from secondhand smoke. So can you get secondhand beef. You can get secondhand chicken. You can get secondhand fish through the smelling of someone cooking beef around you. Through someone cooking chicken around you. This gets into the stream. Because these are vapors. Huh? These are small, minute molecular vapors, especially when it comes to cooking meat. Because you are getting vapors that are floating around in the air. All right? It's the same thing as gas. It's the same thing as being in a place where there's a gas leak. The small molecular vapors in the air that you're breathing and is getting inside of your bloodstream. And it changes the DNA of your whole body, your whole biological system. When you learn to keep yourself away from people that eat beef, and you may say, well, everybody in my family don't eat beef and I love my family, but guess what? Guess what? You don't have to be, even the Bible says, what does the Bible say? Do not what? If your brother does not eat a certain thing, do not hinder your brother by eating that in front of your brother. If your brother doesn't eat beef, don't go eating beef in front of your brother. If your brother doesn't eat chicken, don't go eating chicken in front of your brother. You cause what? You cause a hindrance upon your brother. You cause a hindrance upon your brother. So it's going to take to ascend to your higher, to be ascended masters. You're going to have to learn to detach. Even though you got family and you love your family, even though you got friends and you love your friends, you're going to have to find moments where you detach from them spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physiologically, and biologically. There are going to have to be moments in your life where you're going to have to detach from them. So that way that they can become, they can come to an understanding of who they are. I used to work for a job where when I was a Christian, I used to work for a job where these guys would do drugs on a truck every day. And I wasn't into drugs. But these guys, early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, these guys lighting up weed. And I'm in the back seat, and I got my Bible. This was years ago. I'm in the back seat, and I'm just reading my Bible. And this was a construction crew. And I got kicked off the construction crew, I got kicked off that truck because the guys on that truck felt convicted from my spirit. Because I would always get in the back seat of the truck, open up my Bible and read silently to myself. I wasn't reading to convict anybody. I was reading because I was a student and I was studying the Word of God. I was studying the Word. And so I wasn't reading to convict anybody, but they felt convicted. Their spirit was convicted by my spirit. They felt they were doing something wrong. So they kicked me off the truck, off the work crew. I was okay with that. I didn't care about that. I was like, all right, cool, man. But they were convicted. They wanted to do their drugs. They wanted to smoke their weed without feeling a form of conviction. And this is what happens on every level. When you are eating when you eat right, you convict others around you to eat right. You understand? When you eat right, you can convict others around you to start eating right. When you do right, you start convicting others around you to do right. When you think right, others around you begin to think right. But it takes someone to be ascended and detached from the lower self. It's going to take someone to be ascended and detached from the etheric body into the astral body. You got to leave the etheric body and project and live from the astral body. And living from the astral body, then can you start to look down upon those and use your etheric body to start to do what? Convict those. Your earthly body will start to convict those because see, my etheric body convicts a lot of people and inspires a lot of people. My etheric body inspires a lot of people. Why? Because I'm living in my etheric body from an astral realm. I'm living in my etheric body from an astral realm, and because I am what? I am purified. Because I am purified in my astral body. Because I am purified in my astral body, does it get projected down onto my etheric body? Because I am purified in my astral body. And my astral body is my mind at its most pure. Because in the astral realm, there is no sin. There is no debilitations. There is no hindrances in the astral body. Okay? There is no debilitations in the astral body, because in the astral body, you are perfectly made. You are perfectly made in the astral body. So in the astral body, am I what? Sending down and living from the etheric body, and I never come back to live in the etheric body, because you ought to be in the world, etheric, but not be of the world, astral. You ought to be in the world, etheric, but you're not to be of the world, astral. So I am astral. I am living from the astral body. But my etheric body is still here. But from the astral body, do I sin and live up in my astral body? Do I live in pureness, in purity, in one? You understand? With everything. And because I live that way up there, does it now get projected down onto my etheric body? And so those of you who see me and watch me, you're either convicted or you're inspired. You're either convicted or you are inspired. One of the two. Because you cannot, because even the scripture text says what? To live in spirit, astral, and in truth, etheric, physical. To live in spirit, astral, and to live in truth. You see, I live in spirit and in truth, but I live in spirit first, because you ought to live in spirit and in truth. I live in spirit first, and so therefore it's transformed into the truth, which is something you can see, something you will judge, something that you can look at and say, that's living proof right there. That's truth right there. That's some evidence that I can see. I can see that. And that's what's called truth. Something you can touch, something you can see. But you don't see what? You don't see with the what? The spiritual eye. We're getting into the spiritual eye now. The internal senses. The 5 internal senses. To be an ascended master is to live from the 5 internal, detach yourself from the 5 physical senses and live in the 5 internal senses. And you can hear through the wind, which is the physiological body. You start to begin to hear what wind pattern changes through the physiological body. Do your body changes, your physiological body changes. Then you can hear from, then can you taste, you understand that through the biological body, that tasting things is everything. Your body is tasting things and changing your biological structure through smell. You understand? Your body is tasting someone cooking beef. Your body is tasting someone smoking cigarettes. It changes the chemical structure of your DNA inside your blood. So you can get secondhand smoke, but you also can get secondhand beef. You also can get secondhand chicken. And you also can get, let me say it this way. You can also get secondhand mad cow disease. You can also get secondhand bird flu. You can also get secondhand pig swine. You understand what I'm saying? Not pig swine, but swine flu. Pig swine. Swine flu. You get secondhand swine flu. All these come from the animal. You understand? All these come from the animal. Mad cow disease, bird flu, swine flu. All this come from animals. Eating the animal. Why do you take your protein source from second party, third party? Why don't you go to first party, which is nature, and get your protein? Why do you take your protein from second source, from second party? You can bypass the second party, which is the animal, to get your protein, and you can go straight to where they get their protein from. And the only reason you will have, what is that called when it attacks the plants? E. coli. The only reason you will have an E. coli disease in your plants, which is like your romaine lettuce and your lettuces and your tomatoes, whatever. The only reason you would get an E. coli breakout, like there was recently, the only reason you would get an E. coli breakout because E. coli comes from your fecal matter. E. coli comes from your fecal matter. And your fecal matter, they're using, I told you this before, that they use our fecal matter. They use our fecal matter to do what? To power their plants. To power their building plants, like their water plants and their nuclear power plants. Turning our fecal matter into methane gas. That methane gas is dangerous, as I spoke to you before about methane being the same thing that's in your menthol cigarettes. When you ask for Newport menthol, you're smoking literally methane gas. You understand? And so when they take our fecal matter, they convert our fecal matter into what? Methane gas, which powers the water plants, which powers the nuclear power plants. But if we go straight to the plant, that's the real power plant. You see, they power plants with our fecal matter. And so when the water becomes contaminated through our fecal matter, because they're converting our fecal matter into methane gas, and the water gets contaminated through the methane gas, and they turn that water and they turn around and use that same water to water our plants. And so you get an E. coli breakout. And so you get an E. coli breakout. And the E. coli breakout is all in our plants. That's because they're taking our fecal matter and using it for power plant resources, like water plants and nuclear power plants. That powers your homes. That powers the water systems in your home. They're taking our fecal matter and using it for that purpose. But that's another subject for another day. Okay? Let me sip my tea, because I know I'm hitting y'all with that fat. Hitting y'all with so much truth, I gotta sip my tea. We on to now seeing spiritually. We're talking about how to be an ascended master. You got to understand, you got to tap into the 5 internal senses. The 5 internal senses. Okay? Spiritual, emotional, mental, biological, physiological. I've already told you how to tap into the physiological sense, which is hearing. The biological sense, which is tasting. Now we're going into the seeing. How to see. Okay? Hold on. Now we're going into the seeing of the spiritual eye. Your consciousness. The eye of consciousness. That's why I got right here. This tattoo right here. You see that eye inside the diamond? That is to see spiritually. That is the spiritual eye. That eye inside the diamond is a spiritual eye. I put that there for a reason. This is my religion. You understand? This is my religion. Okay? So now you got, how do you see spiritually then? To be an ascended master, huh? Yeah, you go through, it's a form of meditation, but if you would have heard Oprah and I forget the teacher she was talking to, speaking earlier on the download, you would have heard that the man was talking about we have to do what? We have to leave ourselves. This is a form of detachment. We have to leave ourselves. But watch this. Leave ourselves how? We have to see spiritually, we have to see beyond the hindrances. We have to see beyond the debilitations. To see spiritually, you can be blind many ways. You can be blind many ways. And you can be blind with your eyes like this shut, you can't see. Or you can be blind spiritually. You see, there are a lot of things happening in the spiritual world that you cannot see, that some of us can see, but some of you cannot see. And the reason why a lot of you cannot see is because you're still looking with the 2 projectors of the mind. You're still looking with the 2 eyes of the mind. You're still looking with these 2 eyes. Projectors. But you're not looking with this eye. You're not looking with the conscious mind eye. You're not looking with the conscious eye. And the conscious eye is to see what? It's to see people and read people's energy. It is to read people's energy. See people's, watch this. It is to see people's intention, which is a word Oprah was about to talk about. It is to be able to see people's intention. Dwayne Dyer wrote a book called The Power of Intention. If you understand through intention, through your intention and through others' intention, can you see others' motives? Can you read others' motives? Can you read the spiritual consciousness of the world? Through intention, through being intentional with your own self. Removing all these things that blinds us spiritually, that blinds us and stop us from seeing the intention of those who are opposing us, those who threaten us, those who are with us. But we need to be able to read and see a person's intention. And how do you do that? You have to remove yourself from all of your debilitations and hindrances. You have to remove those things. This is why I say there's no such thing as a habit. You only have a habit because you say you have a habit. But you can break habits cold turkey. You can cold turkey anything. You can cold turkey any habit you claim you have. And you can be a better version of yourself. Through what? Seeing through all of the mess that's in front of you. You have to move all those things out the way. I was telling somebody the other day. I said, when you look at a piece of paper as a writer, I learned not to look at the lines on the paper. But I learned not to look at the lines on the paper, but to look at what? The space between the lines. This is how you become a more creative writer. This is how you become a more creative writer. By looking at the space between the lines and not the lines on the paper. The lines on the paper is a representation of what? It's a representation of binding, of bondage, of tying one down. You understand? It causes you to have to think. The lines on the paper causes you to have to think. And so you can't think because you're looking at the lines on the paper. knowing that something has to be written on the line. But if you look at the space on the paper, and you look at the emptiness, and you look at the space, you will see the emptiness on the paper. You will, if you look at the space on the paper, you will see the emptiness on the paper. Therefore, you will see what? You will begin to see your freedom. To see with the spiritual eye is to see your freedom. To see your freedom is to be an ascended master. This is why, hold on. This is why I wrote this book. And I'm not doing this to sell. I'm giving this book away for free anyway. But what does it say? Escape the fear of failure. Escape. Escape meaning you can find your freedom. Breaking out. You can find your freedom through breaking out of what? The systems that are set before you, that you continuously see with this eye, that you hear with this ear, and you smell with this nose, and you taste with this tongue. But when you see, listen, when you know how to break out of the system, when you know how to break out, you become free. I wrote this book because I broke out. I wrote this book because I became free. I wrote this book because I became an ascended fucking master. I'm sorry, but this is the way I gotta provide this download to you. I became an ascended master because I've detached myself from everything. I gave it all up. I gave it up. I gave up wanting fame. I gave up wanting riches. I gave up wanting a name for myself. And I said, yo, it's not about that. It's truly about being free. And if I don't share my knowledge and I don't share with people how to be free, then I'm keeping them in chains. I'm keeping them in chains. I don't want my people to know how to be in chains. I don't want to tell you how to be successful and how to go get more money and how to get house, because those are all debilitations from stopping you from ascending. All of those are debilitations which stops you from ascending. I don't want you to be stuck in the lower self. I want you to vibrate higher to your higher self. So I need to show you, I need you to see through me. I need you to see now with the spiritual eye. I've opened a lot of people's spiritual eye just through my messages and through my videos and my pictures. I've opened a lot of people's spiritual eye to seeing what truth looks like. I've opened a lot of people's spiritual eye to seeing what truth really looks like. What it looks like to live in spirit and in truth. I've opened a lot of people's eye. And so now a lot of people can look at me and see the truth of what I speak, but also see the truth of the spiritual realm. I am the spiritual body. I am the spiritual body. I am the spiritual body. I'm ascended. I'm not the etheric body. I am the astral body. I am the astral body. I'm not the etheric body. I wrote this book, Breaking Out, Escape the Fear of Failure, because it's going to take you to leave your detachment. I gave up so many clothes I needed. I gave up everything I thought I needed in this world to be somebody. I gave it all up. I gave it up, gave it away, gave it up so I can live in my higher self. I wanted to be my higher self. So I wrote Breaking Out, Escape the Fear of Failure, because it's a guide, it's a manual. It teaches you what you're going to have to let go of. A lot of you are afraid, but I say escape the fear of failure. Escape the fear of failure. A lot of you are afraid to leave this realm. The etheric body. How do you leave the etheric body? You got to give up what you think you are attached to. Detachment. Detachment. Oprah was talking about that in the video, in the early part of this video. You'll hear it. What the teacher and Oprah was talking about. Full detachment. It's not about what you can gain. It's about what you can lose. Ooh. I just said something. It's not about what you can gain. It's what about what you can lose. How much can you lose to gain, huh? How much can you lose to gain true knowledge of self? How much can you lose to gain, huh? True spiritual awareness, true mindfulness, true ascension. How much can you lose? I can lose it all. What is it to gain the whole world only to lose your soul? I can lose it all because I want my soul. Understanding that the debilitations and hindrances are what? Keeping my eye blinded. It's keeping me blinded from seeing my true self, my true nature. It kept me blinded. When I was out there speaking on a speaking platform, I was speaking to hundreds and even thousands of people, teaching them how to be successful. And I wasn't even really that much successful myself. I wrote some books. I was traveling, I did all the good things you want to do in life, but it wasn't, I had the car I wanted, but I had the family I wanted, but it wasn't what was speaking to my heart, the nature of who I was. It wasn't speaking to the nature of my soul, because I wanted to be ascended. I wanted to be free. I wanted to be free of want. I wanted to be free of want. I wanted to be free of want. I didn't want anything. I wanted to be free of that. I always say freedom is the absence of emotion. And so I remember losing so much, even not only been up so much, but I remember losing so much. I remember losing so much. I remember people taking from me and my energy when I would come in as a speaker, and people would use my energy and tell me they was going to pay me and never paid me. You understand? I remember losing time and money and thought because I had to put so much energy in presentations. I lost so much because I gave so much to people. And I realized, like, yo, this is the world that I'm going to be living in. This is the world that I'm going to be giving myself over to. No, there's something deeper than that. No, there's something more than that. No, I don't want this. I don't want to keep getting robbed of myself. I don't want to keep getting robbed of myself. Huh? I didn't want to keep getting robbed of myself. Who was robbing me? I was robbing myself. Who was robbing me? I was robbing myself, Divine. I did not want to keep giving myself over to people, places, and things that was making me lose and more of myself, because I was chasing a name. I was chasing notoriety. I was chasing fame. I was chasing freedom, money. I was chasing the house. I was chasing a nice car. I was chasing a fine girl. I was chasing all that. And I was like, no, this isn't so. This isn't the way it is. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be free in ourselves, loving ourselves. We're supposed to be loving ourselves and able to be free doing that. But yet I am put in these places and spaces that tell me you need to be successful, do this and get this kind of money and get this kind of status and get this kind of name for yourself. No, I'm going to be uploading a video talking about that today that I did yesterday. I went and spoke out to a group of young men, teaching them what it truly means to be enlightened beings and ascended masters. I gave them my lecture that I always do called 15 Minutes of Fame, and I'll go into that later. You'll see the video coming for that later. What is true fame? So to see spiritually in the 5 internal senses, you have to remove debilitation. You have to remove all that you claim you want. You have to remove everything you say you want. You have to remove all that they project on you to get. And you have to remove wanting to be somebody, a name, a position. I did this. And I became ascended. See, to leave the etheric body is to now what? Project yourself into the astral body. To become an ascended master. And so you now see what? You see through the bullshit. You see through intentions. You see through motives. You see and read people's energy. I told somebody yesterday, somebody inboxed me yesterday, and I said to them, somebody inboxed me yesterday, and they didn't have no picture on their profile. And I was like, why you ain't got no picture? And that person was like, well, I'm camera shy. I was like, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't talk to nobody I can't see, because even though I can read your energy, I can read, and through your messages, I can read the kind of energy that you are. You understand? But I see with my spiritual eye. I see with my spiritual eye, so therefore I see intention. I see intentions. Because I can read in a person's energy. I can read through a person's physical body their intention. I can read their motives through their etheric body. And all I need to do is, you don't need to send me a video of yourself, but if I got a picture of what you look like, I can read what's all wrong with you, and therefore I can also help you too. I can also help you if I can see you, because I can read the energy on your body. Because you are living not knowing, you are living from a spiritual world. This is why the Bible even says to live in spirit and in truth. Whatever you are living in, whatever spiritual body you are living in, it is affecting your physical body. The truth, the matter, material, this is truth. Material is truth. This is matter. This is material. Material is matter. This is truth. So to live in spirit and to live in truth, to live in spirit, is for me to be able to see what it looks like on you in the etheric body. Because in spirit, can I see? In spirit, whatever you live in spirit, it is showing on your etheric body, your earthly body, your etheric body. Whatever you live in spirit, it is showing on your etheric body. And so I can see how you're living in spirit through my spiritual eye. Because I live in a spiritual world. And I am there with you on the spiritual world. Now, whether you are a low vibration of yourself or a high vibration of yourself, whether you are a low conscious self or a high conscious self, whether you are a ascended master or you're not an ascended master, I can still read your spiritual energy through my eye, through my spiritual, because I see with the spiritual eye. I see with the spiritual eye. Huh? I see with the spiritual eye. And because I see with the spiritual eye, am I able to either help you from your debilitations and your hindrances and tell you what's wrong with you, or I can tell you what I can read your motives and your intentions, and I know how to handle you. I know how to deal with you. Because I'm not reading you from my two eyes here in my physical self. I'm reading you from a spiritual world. Because you live in the spiritual world as well. But you live in the spiritual world whether you are a lower version of your higher self. Some of us are not higher selves yet. Some of us are not God yet. Because we've not reached the higher self-consciousness yet. We're spiritual, but we're not higher self-conscious yet in the spiritual world. We're lower self-conscious. And you can ascend to higher self-consciousness being an ascended master. Knowing thyself. Breaking out of the systems and traditions and cultures and societies that they try to make you stay in touch to. They try to make you stay in tune to. I am not afraid to go the other way. I am not afraid to look odd. I am not afraid to look different. I am not afraid to look weird. Because guess what? I am living because my truth is going to speak out loud through the spiritual world that I live in. My truth is going to speak out loud. And guess what? because we live, whether we know it or not, by laws of nature and the laws of the universe, these are unbreakable laws. You cannot break these laws. Because we live by these laws, we cannot break them. Whether we know we're living by them or not, guess what? It still affects your life. It is still being applied to your life, and it affects your life. And because I live by natural and universal law, guess what? I am in tune with these laws. And so you see, when you see me spiritual, you see highly intellectual spirituality upon that vessel. Because I live in tune with these laws. And I don't break these laws. I live in tune with them. And I stay connected to them. And so because I live in harmony with them, my life shows harmony. And so I know how now to speak to you without having to use my voice. I know how now to speak to you without having to use a message. I know how to speak to you on a spiritual level because I see what's going on with you spiritually. And so I can speak to you on a spiritual level. Not verbally, but my spirit will speak to your spirit through this phone. My spirit will speak to your spirit through this phone. Without me using words. My spirit will speak to your spirit through this phone, and it will so either inspire you or it will convict you. And so when you see pictures of me or videos of me now, you're either inspired or you're convicted. And most people that are convicted are going to run away and are going to either run away and not deal with me. But really, they're not dealing with themselves. It's not me they're not dealing with. It's themselves they're not dealing with. You see, I am a reflection of you and you are a reflection of me. In order to deal with me, you have to, in order to accept what I'm saying, you have to deal with yourself. You have to deal with yourself to accept what I am saying to you today. Because to deal with yourself is to acknowledge that what I'm saying has a lot of validity to it because you see it play out in your own life. You see it in your own life. You see the hindrances. You see the debilitations. You see the setbacks. But yet you don't refrain from those setbacks. You stay attached. And so you say it's a bad habit. Ain't no bad habits. Ain't no habits. Ain't no such thing as habits. You can remove habits in the day, in a second, like that, the snap of a finger. There are no such thing as habits. It's all because you've attached your mind to it. You've attached yourself to it. and you see nothing different for yourself. So you call it a habit, but there are no such thing as a habit. There are debilitations that you do not want to let go of. That's all it is a debilitation you do not want to let go of. It is not a habit. It is a debilitation. A habit is to have it. Huh? To have a habit, to say you got a habit is to have it. You are claiming a habit. When you say I got a habit, you have it. If you say I got AIDS, you got AIDS. Because for a habit to be a habit, you got to have it. You got to have it in the mind. For a habit to be a habit, you got to have it in the mind. For a habit to be a habit, you got to have it in the mind. And this is why you have what you have. Because you have it in the mind, so you call it a habit. Huh? You have it in the mind, so you call it a habit. But there are no such thing as habits, because you got to see beyond habits. You got to see beyond the two physical eyes and get in touch with the spiritual eye and start to see, yo, I am beyond this. I am past this. I am past this. I am beyond this. I don't live in this world. I am the astral body. I don't live. You must live in what? Spirit and in truth. Be in the world, not of the world. I am in the world, but this body that is in the world is literally dead. I am sending you a message from the astral realm. I am sending you this message from the I am sending you divine light intervention right now. I'm sending you divine wisdom and truth and knowledge of ascension from my ascended self. You're not looking and listening to a lower self-conscious person. You are looking at and listening to an ascended master, an enlightened messenger, a messenger who gets his message straight from the cosmos, straight from the universe, straight from the laws of universe and nature, straight from God. God, the creator, created all things. Straight from God. I am getting my messages from God on high, from my higher self, because I live in my higher self. I live in the higher state of consciousness. I live ascended beyond this earthly plane. I am not my etheric body. I am the astral body. So when I bring you the message, I am bringing you a message from the astral realm, helping you understand and tie in what? The message of what? Universal law and natural law. Huh? Helping you tie in what? The message of universal law and natural law. That's why I say these two things cannot be broken. They are in sync. They are one with each other. These things cannot be broken. They cannot be broken. You can't break them if you wanted to. They are to be respected. And if you start to live by the laws of nature and the laws of the universe, you can become an ascended master. And when you speak, you don't have to be all spiritual when you speak. It shows through truth. Through truth does the truth shows, because you live in spirit and in truth. To live in spirit first though, and then in truth. Truth being the body, truth being the matter. This is the body. Material matter, this is the body. This is truth. This cup that I'm touching is truth, is matter. This book that I touch is truth. It is matter, is material. This is called truth. Okay? My body that you see here, it is called truth. I live in spirit and in truth, because I live in the spirit world. And so you see the truth of the spirit world inside the body, inside the etheric body. Now you can see with your conscious mind, your eye, and you can read intentions. But how do you see? This is how you see. You truly have to let go. Let go of your hindrances, the things you hold on to. Oh, I could be, I can go buy this house. I got this, this. Understanding that your house ain't gonna get you to true mastery. Your house, you got to understand that we live in a spiritual world first, then a physical world. And once you understand we do live in a spiritual world, will you not want nothing of the material world? You will understand that. See, I said this the other day. I said to be God is to have everything. See, I don't need to have all these things. I don't need to have a nice home and a nice car. I don't need to have these things, because to be God, I got everything. To be God is to let go and know that you have everything. It is to be and not to be. I am God. I am to be and not to be. I have everything, yet I have nothing. But because I have nothing, I have everything. And what is to have everything? It's to have your spirituality, it's to have your truth. It is to have it is to have your soul, your mind, your consciousness. That is having everything. I've learned freedom. I've learned freedom through letting go of my debilitations. Then was I able to see, not with these two physical eyes, but with the spiritual eye could I see. Now, you want to tap into the becoming ascended master. You want to tap into, I'm going to run through these last two because I've made a, long one about that one was deep though. The spiritual eye part was deep. You need to be able to, I should have saved that one for last because you need to understand how to see. This is the crux of it all, spiritual eye. But now that you got the hearing part, through the physiological body, do you hear? Do vibrations change through what? Through wind. As I said before, when you see when you see those ducks flying south for the winter, you always got that one duck in the front. What is that one duck doing? That one duck is changing the vibration in the wind pattern. So what? So that the wind becomes aerodynamic for the rest of the ducks in the back. He's changing the vibration in the wind pattern. So you understand, you can hear through your physiological body because you are the 5 internal senses: physiological, biological, spiritual, mental, and emotional. Now to be spiritual, or I said spiritual, I did the spiritual eye, but to hear or to hold on, I did hearing, I did taste, I did sight. Okay, now we're doing sound. We're gonna do sound. We're gonna do how to hear through sound. This is a good one. This is a good one. This is a good one. Hearing through sound. Why you want to be able to hear through sound? Because you must understand. Animals are more intelligent than us. Animals are more intelligent than us. You know that scientists say we live only with 10% of our brain, and dolphins live with 20% of their brain. 20% of their brain. And guess what? Because of sound. Because they changed. Ooh, this is about to be deep, y'all. Because they have changed the tune of sound. Literally, 1933, they've changed the tune of sound, which is the sound of nature, which is 423 megahertz. The 423 megahertz tune is the sound of nature. It is the sound of nature. And so they've changed the tunes of instrument to 440 megahertz, which changes the pattern and vibrational patterns inside the body. I'm finna go real deep. I'm finna get deep with this one. I love the hearing. To hear, the sound. The sound. Did I do sound? No, I did hearing. I did hearing. I did taste. I did sight. Now I gotta do smell. I gotta do smell. And I got to do, what was the other one I said? What was the other sense? Touch. My bad. We already did hearing. I'm talking about, we already did hearing. I'm talking about touch. Okay? Touching. Watch this. To be able to feel. This is feel. My bad. I did hearing already. But we're where we need to be. But the sense I'm on is touch. Okay? To feel. Okay? This is the feel. This is the emotional body. Okay? Now watch this. Through vibrations, through sound, did they change the vibrations in instruments? They changed it from 423 megahertz to 440 megahertz, which they understand changes what? The vibration patterns in the body. They understand this. They did this. They done this. They changed the vibrational patterns, and it changes the vibrational patterns inside the body. Right? And so what does it do? When they change the sound from 423 megahertz, it is the natural sound of nature. If you go sit out in nature, you are listening to 423 megahertz, which is who you are. You are a vibrational, you are a makeup of 423 megahertz of sound. You are a genetic makeup of 423 megahertz of sound. Okay? This is how you feel. But they change the way you feel. They change your emotional body. So guess what? Music becomes an emotional thing, doesn't it? You cry when you hear a certain song. You laugh when you hear a certain song. You're jovial or joyous when you hear a certain song? You are whatever, you angry when you hear a certain song? Because they understand that music sound changes the vibrational patterns inside of our emotional bodies. And it can make us very emotional. So they use certain music at certain games. Like when you go to a sports show, when you go to like a football game, a basketball game, you go to, they got this replay of all these certain types of songs that they play. And they always used to play like, we will rock you. Or they always got that one Trick Daddy song, if you want some, come get some. Where I'm from, you don't get, you know what I'm saying? They always got that. They always got these type of certain songs they continuously play at sports game. This is deliberate. This is deliberate. Why? Because they understand that sound changes our emotional body, our emotional makeup. Huh? It changes our emotional makeup. Vibration. Sound is in vibration. Sound is in vibration is in sound. Sound is in vibration. And so when you change the sound, you change the vibration in the air. You change the vibration in the body. And you change the vibration in the emotional body. You change the vibration inside the emotional body. So your sound is supposed to be what? The sound of nature, 423 megahertz. But they change it to 440 megahertz. Which changes the emotional structure, which changes your emotional structure. They are tampering with your emotional body when they change the sound of, when they change the sound, the tune of sound. When they change the tune of sound, they've changed the vibrational pattern inside your emotional body. Now, to be able to hear emotionally, to be able to feel emotionally, feel because you feel through music. To be able to feel emotionally, you must change the way you hear things. You must change the way you hear things. So watch this. Dolphins are so much smarter than us. Animals are so much smarter than us. They are so much smarter than us. Why? Because they understand and are in tune to the vibrations of the earth. Remember that tsunami that came? Remember how those animals fled the scene? There was no animals that barely died. Only animals that died in that tsunami was dogs and cats because they've been domesticated from their higher self to the lower self. But animals are so much more intelligent than us because they are in tune to the sounds of nature. They are in tune to the sound of nature. They're not in tune to you and your sound and all the horns beeping on your car. They're not in tune to that. You ever see an animal? You ever go up to an animal and try to like startle the animal by saying like boo, like a cow or something like that? You say boo. But they don't hear that. Animals don't hear you speaking to them. They are in tune to the sounds of nature. You try to go up to like a cow and say boo to a cow, and the cow doesn't jump or budge like somebody else would. You like boo, the cow doesn't go The cow doesn't do that. Why? Because the cow is not in tune to that vibrational pattern. The cow is in tune to the vibrational pattern of nature. So it's going to hear nature speak. And it's going to run when nature tells it to run. It's going to do what nature tells it to do. You hearing me? So watch this. So to hear and feel emotionally, you got to understand that dolphins, they use what? They use echo, sound, or sonar waves. They use sonar waves to speak to each other. Vibrations. And they understand the language of what each other is speaking through the change in the water of the vibrational pattern. It is through feeling. So the animals through what? The animals in the tsunami fled the tsunami because they felt the vibrational patterns in the earth. This is why you ought to get back in tune to the earth by walking barefooted in the dirt, taking off your shoes and taking off your socks and planting your feet within the soil so you can become connected back to the source and you can feel the earth change and shift. Animals are in tune with this. So animals fled the tsunami when the tsunami happened years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and they fled for higher ground because they felt through the vibrations of the earth. They felt everything change within them emotionally. It's like, yo, something ain't right. I'm going to get out of harm's way just in case. Let me get out of harm's way just in case. So dolphins do what? Dolphins talk to each other through sonar echo waves. Sonar echo waves, which is a higher way of saying vibrations. They talk to each other through vibrations. Do dolphins talk to each other? Whales, killer whales do too. They talk to each other through a echo sound wave that comes off the brain. That comes off the brain system. What? And they feel those vibrational patterns being changed within the water. And so they understand the language. If we come to a higher ascended part of ourselves, do you know we can talk telepathically just like dolphins can? We also too can talk telepathically just like dolphins can. But we would never, meaning we can talk through vibrations, energy. We can talk through energy of each other. I can talk to you through the energy. I can talk to you using vibration. I don't need to talk using my words, but I can feel your energy. You can read my energy, and we can have a full-blown conversation through energy alone. Understanding that energy is changing vibration. Understanding that energy is changing vibration. In water, in air, in everything. In every part of the atmosphere. In light, energy is changing vibrational patterns. In water and in air, in light, in sound. So you have to tap back into what? Your emotional body by feeling vibrations. When you listen to someone talk and you can feel, you say, I feel you. You know how you say, I feel you? I feel where you're coming from? Because the vibration hit you in a place where you've been there. I feel where you're coming from, dog. I feel where you're coming from, girl. I feel where you're coming from. Why? Because the vibration hits you such a way that you do feel where they're coming from because you've been in that place. So you can go back to a place of compassion and actually feel where that person is at in that moment in their life because you actually been there. You've actually lived from that vibration. You've lived from that moment. You've emotionally been attached to that place. Huh? You know what it feels like. So you say, I feel you, bro. I feel you, girl. I feel you, dog. I feel you. That's right. I feel you because of what I've been through and I felt that emotionally. The vibration. So when somebody is speaking, they're speaking to you through vibration. Everything is energy and energy is all vibration. Energy is all vibration. Everything is energy. Energy is all vibration. And so they change the vibration in air. They change the vibration in sound. They change the vibration in our food. And this is changing everything about your spiritual body. How do you become an ascended master? You have to detach yourself from language that people, the negative, you have to detach yourself from negative language that people speak. Literally getting rid of people in your phone that you know speak gossip. Because even their name being in your phone carries a vibration. Even the name being still, even if you don't hang out with that person no more, but the name in your phone still carries a vibration. And you have to be like, I got to get rid of you out of my life. You're a debilitation. Because every time I see your name, that comes back, that vibration comes back up in me emotionally. And I can't deal with that. I can't have that. I want to be I want to be a master of myself. I want to be an ascended master of myself. Therefore, I want to leave all the debilitations, like people who speak ill, gossip, are negative. I got to leave them alone. They got to get out my phone. I got to even delete you when I see you on my Facebook. I got to delete you when I see you on my Facebook. So, I see some GMO humans. Yeah, I did a video talking about GMO people. GMO, I call them GMNs, genetically modified Negroes. I did a video on that, talking about something different. But okay, now you got what? You got the hearing. How do you hear? Through the physiological body. To become an ascended master. I titled this message today, How to Become an Ascended Master. It is through hearing, through what? The 5 internal senses. You have 10 senses. You have 10 senses. 10. 5 is the physical. Hearing, sight, smell, taste, and sound. What did I say? Hearing? Okay. It's sight, smell, taste, sound, and touch. Yeah, touch. These are your 5 physical senses. You got 5 other physical senses you are not tapped into. You have to transcend the body, the etheric body, to get tapped into these other 5 spiritual senses, which is the emotional body, which we just spoke of. Being able to what? Being able to feel vibration when someone talks, and being able to speak vibration without speaking a word, but being able to speak vibrations like dolphins do. They speak vibration. Dolphins speak vibration. So they can hear, they can feel the person's language. Energy. I can speak to you through feeling your energy. That's a language. So I don't have to hear you say a word. I feel you when I hear you speak to me energetically, through vibration, telepathically. You understand? So now, this is the emotional body. Understanding that vibration, hearing vibrational sounds changes the our emotional makeup, our emotional patterns. This is why they changed the tune of instruments from 423 megahertz to 440 megahertz. Because they understand that music is emotional. They understand that sound is emotional. They understand that the sound of nature can bring you to a state of peace. They understand that the sounds of nature can bring you to a state of peace. Let me go off on a tangent real quick. In mental health institutions, and inside of prisons, and also inside of prisons. Why do you think inside of a prison they give the cellmate a window about this big, in width, in height, and that long in length? And guess what the view is always of? The view is always of the road. Seeing people pass by in cars. It's always of the road. The view is never of one of nature. Because they understand that nature brings you back to a peace of mind. But they don't want you to be at peace. They want you to be at chaos. And so they love chaos. They love keeping you looking at people driving by on the road when you're locked up in jail and in prison. Because they know you're going to want to be out there. And it makes you want to be out there. But if you see nature, if you're a prison mate and nature is your view, then you're going to be at peace with where you're at. You're not going to never mind wanting to be out there. You're going to be like, you know what? I'm always out in nature. I find peace here. In mental health institutions, they only allow the patient maybe 1 hour out inside the garden. Why is this? They give them a padded room with white pads around the room. They give them rooms, concrete, understanding that concrete is not a conductor of energy. They put you in concrete buildings, understanding that concrete is not a conductor of energy. So they put you in concrete buildings. And then they put you behind automatic lock doors. You understand? And then they only give you 1 hour out in nature inside the garden. And they understand that for this 1 hour you're going to be at peace. But they need you to continuously be crazy and lose your mind. So they give you 1 hour in peace in nature, and the rest of the time, you're in the institution with the rest of the crazies, keeping you crazy because they understand vibration. They understand that through communication, we communicate through vibrations. So even if I'm in a mental institution and I'm not crazy, I can become crazy because of the crazy people in there. They understand this. You seen people get locked up in crazy homes when they're not crazy, but when you visit them, they crazy now. All of a sudden. How? Because they understood that through vibration, that those crazy people locked up in there are communicating a language. And so even if you go in not being crazy, you'll be crazy when you're in there. Because it was like that movie Gothica. Remember that movie Gothica? They locked Halle Berry up inside the mental institution, and she wasn't crazy, but she became crazy because she was around a bunch of crazies. You understand? She had to become crazy to free herself. You understand? And so you got to understand that it is through nature are we able to hear and feel vibration. So let's go off on the last one. I said you got 5 physical internal senses: emotional body, the what? The physiological body. We touched on the emotional body. We touched on the physiological body, We touched on the spiritual body, and we touched on the what was it? The spiritual body you got, and we touched on the biological body. The biological body. Now we got to touch on, what is it? Physical, you guys, mental. Now we must touch on the mental body. The mental body, the psychological body. We've gotten physiological, biological, spiritual, emotional, now the mental. This is the body you are made up of in the astral realm, not on the physical realm. All right? I know we're getting long. I'm about to close out in a little bit. But I gotta finish out. My tea cold now, so I'm still sipping because it's good. So now we must understand that in order to become, I gotta stand up. I have to take a break. Sitting down. In order to become the mental part of the body, the mental self, right? We must do a myriad of things to tap back into our astral body. To tap back into our astral body, we must be able to leave the etheric body, detach ourselves, and now you got the spiritual, emotional, biological, physical, and here's the mental. To do what? To be able to, this good. This is good. This is good. You got to be able to say, what did Jesus say in the Bible? Whoever does not what? Whoever does not leave his mother, sister, brother, father, son, or daughter for my name's sake is not worthy of me. And what does that mean to be worthy of me? Jesus is talking about the higher conscious self. You're not worthy of elevating and ascending because you don't know how to leave those that you say you love behind. And it's not in the physical sense, getting up, leaving your people. It's in the mental aspect. It's to say, I love you, but I must go. And you must go with no hesitation. You must go and do what needs to be done with no hesitation. To do what? To be able to bring your people to that same place. I always talk about, how can I save you if we're both drowning? I must get out the water. Throw you the lifeline to save you. I can't save you if I'm drowning too. If I'm drowning, if we're both drowning, somebody has to get out of the water. So I must get out the water and then throw you the life preserver. Mentally, on a mental level, I must do this. I must do that. I must leave to be able to come back and save you. But I have to leave you mentally. I have to leave you mentally. It's not a physical sense. It's a mental sense. It's to say, I love you, but I must go. I must go somewhere. And being mental also means that you may get called crazy. I was called crazy for coming into this knowledge. I was called, you this way one day and you're that way the next, and you're this way another. I'm coming into my higher self. I'm coming into my higher self. I am becoming an ascended master. Yes. I'm becoming an ascended master. And this is the knowledge of self. It's to be able to leave everything mentally first behind. Actually, I said I was going to save the spiritual one. I wanted to save the spiritual one for last, but I actually like saving this one for last. It is to leave the spiritual self. It is to leave the physical self behind mentally. If you do it, if you know how to do this first mentally, in the mind, it becomes easy to ascend. Let me say it again. If you know how to leave this world mentally, in the mind first, then you become an ascended master. It starts out mental. Everything is mental. Everything is in the mind. Everything is, stop thinking that you need a certain thing to survive this world. Stop thinking that you need a certain degree, a certain level of knowledge, a certain person in your life, a certain whatever to leave this world. Do it mentally first. Through the mental, Can you read? Can you see? Can you hear? Can you taste? Can you touch? All of the 5 physical senses. Leaving the physical body through the mind. Meditation. Meditation. Getting metaphysical with yourself. Ascending in that realm first. Then can you look down upon your body and say, here's where I need healing. This is where I need help. This is where I need to let go of. This is the people, and you can see a 5-mile radius around you of people that need to go. Hold on. Turn. I hear you. I hear you, divinity. I hear you. I'm turned over reprobate. Yeah, you got to be of a reprobate mind for real. So you got to basically rebel through the mind. You got to be a rebel. You got to be a rebel. You got to be a rebel. You got to leave. Alright, I think it was better when I was sitting down. Sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. It was better when I could see myself sitting down. You got to leave. You got to leave through the mind first. Yes, you got to be of a reprobate mind, as Divinity so said. You have to be of a reprobate mind. This is how you leave mentally. You have to say, enough with wanting this world. Enough with the physical world. Enough, because we live in a spiritual world. Dr. Wayne Dyer said it best. He said that we are not humans having a spiritual experience. We are spirits having a human experience. We got to leave this world mentally first. Metaphysically, through the mind. Meditate. Be a rebel. And speak differently, because everybody's going to challenge you in your language. When you meditate, you start to ascend metaphysically, people are going to start challenging your language. And even people that are of a higher knowledge of this. But you can't challenge me because I'm an ascended master. And to be an ascended master, it ain't that I don't have to answer to you. I just show you. I don't have to answer because I am not to be challenged. The Bible, what does the Bible say? Thou shalt not mock God. You shall not mock God. And you can't mock me because I don't live on that realm of competing with somebody else. I don't live on the realm of competition. I don't live on the realm of how much you know. I live in the realm of my higher self. And you can't tell me how much knowledge I know of thyself. You can't tell me how much knowledge I know of myself. You can't tell me. Because the knowledge I'm bringing you is the knowledge of thyself. The knowledge I'm bringing you is the knowledge of my higher self. The knowledge that I'm bringing you is the knowledge of my ascended self, ascended mastery. The knowledge that I am bringing you is the knowledge of me having left this world mentally first through a metaphysical transformation in meditation. This is how I have left. I left this world through my knowledge of thyself. Of thyself. The scripture says what? Know thyself to show thyself approved. Know thyself to show thyself approved. I know myself. So now it is proven to you I do know myself. So I don't have to answer a challenge. I don't have to answer someone trying to compete with me on this level of spirituality and consciousness, because I know myself. I am of my higher self. This is why I constantly say that. I am of my higher self. I'm in my higher self. And you can't challenge me on my higher self, because that's to mock God, to challenge me of my knowledge and of my higher self. This is how I ascended to my higher self. I'm teaching you not how to ascend, how I ascended through my own experiences. I'm teaching you how to ascend through the proper methods. The proper methods of getting out of touch with your 5 physical senses and in touch with your 5 internal senses. Physiological, biological, spiritual, mental, and emotional. Mental and emotional. And it's all mental. That's why I said I'm glad I saved this one for last. Everything is mental first. You have to escape the world through the mind first. Then can you astral project? Because once you escape through the mind, you understand that this is where meditation is. This is what it means to be a metaphysical being. And this is how you can walk in meditation daily I talked about doing that download earlier, about doing how to be a walking, living meditation. How do you do that? It's never living in the world mentally. You don't hear from the world. You don't see of the world. You don't listen. You don't take. You don't taste. You don't touch. You touch on a high level. Huh? You touch on a high level. You touch and you taste and you see and you hear on a higher frequency. On a higher frequency. Huh? Everything is mental first. And you ascend. 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 Higher and higher and higher. And then you, and the deeper and deeper and deeper you get. You get the higher, you get higher by going deeper. You get higher by going deeper. You must be able to be a rebel in the mind first. Saying, I'm not living amongst this system. Huh? I'm not living amongst this system anymore. I am escaping this fear of thinking I need this system to survive. Why do you worry about what you shall eat or what you shall wear? Do you not see the birds of the air? Look at the birds of the air. Do your Father not feed them? Look at the lilies of the field. Do your Father not clothe them? How much more of you? How much more do I have to get to you? Who are my child? Nature is speaking to you, saying that you are from me. I made you. You come from me. I have everything you need. I have everything you need right here. Look out in nature. Everything you need is in nature. Everything you need is right in nature. Everything you need is right there in nature. You don't need to go and accept jobs because jobs didn't exist. Jobs didn't exist when we were living from the land. I always like to go back and look at how they live still today in Africa in some places where they live in the village. Yeah, they're poor, but they're rich. Yeah, they're poor in material wealth, but they're rich. You ever go to a third world country and you try to go over there and you help them by feeding them. But when you go over there, you see they got the biggest smiles on their face. They happy. They live with a village mindset. They live with a village mindset because they are on a frequency with family who are of the same mindset. And they realize it ain't about mental. I mean, it ain't about money. It ain't about material. It ain't about having the nice cars and nice things. They're better off without it. They're better off without it. They begin to lose their way of life when you start to introduce that stuff in their life. There's some tribes over in Africa that still haven't seen a plane fly overhead. Don't even know what a plane is. There's some tribes over in South America that don't even know what it looked like to have clothes or what clothes look like. They make their clothes from nature. You understand? They don't know some of the things that we are so accustomed to over here. But the more and more we become accustomed to the what? To the centralized way of life that America has given us. And I say centralized because understand that everything is owned by the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds own, centralizes the world with their central banks. So when we become more centralized because the Rothschilds are owning us, the Rothschilds own America and they fund all the other countries. And understanding that the more and more we become centralized, the more and more we become docile. The more and more we become out of sync and out of tune with our 5 internal senses. And we stay stuck, which we call habits, in our 5 physical senses. And we call these things habits. There's no habits. You have it because your habits is something, when you say you have a habit, you have it. If you say you are, you got cancer, if you say you smoke cigarettes and cigarettes causes cancer, and you know that and you keep saying that, then you're going to get cancer. Then you're going to get cancer. Okay? Then you're going to get cancer. And what we need to do is we need to go back to what? A way of life to where we were always ascended masters. The Indians were always ascended masters. Always. They stayed in tune with nature and universal law. The Africans were always ascended masters in those tribes, in those villages. They were always ascended masters, always staying in tune to their higher self, living from the crown chakra all the time, tapped into the universe. Tapped in, they stayed at the highest elevation of self and tapped into the crown chakra, receiving direct light codes from the sun and the universe and the moon and the stars and the constellations. They were always receiving from the constellations of the stars, being guided by the moon, being guided by the planets, being guided by the Unitarian planets. They were always guided. They were always guided through being tapped into the higher self, the crown chakra, which is tapped into the ethers of the universe. Okay, so I'm giving you all I can give you to be ascended masters. You are living in your root chakra, which is your physical self. You're living in your debilitations because you don't know how to convert, or you don't know how to transform into the 5 internal senses and live from the 5 internal senses. And if you know and start to live from the 5 internal senses, then can you be an ascended master? You ought to live in spirit and in truth. But it is in spirit first. Then it becomes truth. It is in spirit first. Then it becomes truth. Alright. I said enough. How to become ascended masters. I'm appreciating everybody in the room today. All y'all came in the room, watching this, listening to this, commenting, understanding that it is through these laws I'm preaching, I speak, I live. Do you become your higher self? I got family in the room, and I appreciate y'all being here. Okay? Can't name all y'all. I would like to. But I tell you this. Breaking Out, Escape the Fear of Failure is a book I'm giving away for free. Free. All you got to do is ask for it. And right here, Escape the Fear of Failure talks about you getting out and unafraid. I wrote in this book so much truth of when I was chasing after a big name, being motivational speaker of the top motivational speaker. I was winning all kind of awards, medals. I got a medal from the mayor. All this good stuff that means absolutely zero. It means absolutely zero. It means nothing, because even when I didn't have it and I wanted it, I was like, that's what it feels to have it. I want this now. I kept wanting more. Now I don't want more. I want less. And the more and more and more I want less, the less and less I want. Ooh, let me say that again. The more and more I want less, the less I want. I don't want much. I don't want much. I only want a little. Right? Do yourselves a favor, please. Share this download. I'm sorry. I'm in y'all way. Finger in y'all way. Do yourselves a favor. Share this download. Do yourselves another favor. Share this download. And do yourselves one more favor. You said it. Share this download. Okay? Somebody need the truth. And yes, if you just get in the inbox, I'll give you the book. Alright? Inbox me your address. You get a book coming to you. It may take a while because I've got a lot of people now inboxing me about this book. So it may take a little bit. But don't worry. You'll get one. It'll come. Just people are inboxing me now all about the book now, and everybody want the book. So it's cool. It's good. But now I got to, I got to send it out through postal mail, and it takes a while to do that. You feel me? So get all these books in the mail at one time, especially when stamps and sending them all out at one time. All these books at one time is not cheap. Okay? But I'll do it for you because I will pay. For your freedom, I will pay for it. For your freedom, I'll pay for it. Understand? Inbox me for the book. Alright? And it's free. It's yours. Peace. I'm out. Appreciate you. I love you. Come back again on another download. Do yourselves a favor. Share this download. I'm out.